Hello?
Hello, Carl. How are you?
Doing fine. How are you?
Everything is good. It's quite warm in Portugal at the moment, so
So you're in Portugal. Very
yes,
good.
trying not to melt.
Yeah. We finally got some rain here. It was a heat wave last week.
Yeah,
So very thankful for the rain.
yeah. I prefer a mild weather. This extreme heat is just insane anyway. Let's talk about Nile because that's why we're here. You guys got a new record. The Underworld Awaits Us All. Does it really?
I think so. Yeah. And wherever that is, we will be there together. Everybody who loves metal
Yeah.
will be there.
You know, let's go talk to the one of the first songs you guys released because it's the longest title.
Yeah. Are you going to say it? Come on.
No,
We're waiting.
no, I have to read it, but I'll read it. Chapter for not being hung upside down on a stake in the underworld and made to eat feces by the four apes. That's it.
Fuck yeah. Great job. You did the fuck out of that.
First of all, when you're going, if you play this song live, how are you going to write it down on the set list?
Well, on the set list, it'll just say chapter. But when we introduce the song, we will say the title. It'll be fun because fans will say it with us, and it'll be fun.
So how did you come up with the title for this song? I know you like to read Book of the Dead. Uh,
Hmm.
when you start work on a Nile album, you go there to get inspiration for songs. Was it the case again?
Yeah. The last interview I did, I had the same question, so I still have right next to me the Book of the Dead. So when I go to write Nile songs, and I don't know what song I'm going to write, I'll just take the book and go, and wherever that is, okay, that'll be the song. And sometimes that works good. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. But once in a while, you strike gold. So the chapter of that title is the chapter for not being hung upside down on a stake in the underworld and made to eat feces. So I went, how is that not? How is that not a metal song? It's a
Yeah,
metal song waiting for somebody to write it.
yeah. How
So
many how many copies of the Book of the Dead do you have, or do you have own it all?
I've got four different copies that I still have. Some of them I gave to other people, but I still have four of them, the nice ones.
The nice ones. What is, if you have to, if someone like, let's say, like me, I want to get a Book of the Dead, which edition it's the most complete or, most faithful to those scriptures from back in the day?
Well, every transcription is going to be a little bit different, and people will argue about which is the most accurate or which retains the original meaning. For my purposes, writing death metal songs, it doesn't necessarily have to be the most accurate because I'm writing metal songs and it doesn't. I mean, accuracy is one thing, sure, authenticity, okay, but I'm writing metal songs and there is no Grammy Music Award for authenticity. It doesn't help you write better metal songs. So, you know, I don't know if I even care. I mean, I care on the one hand. Okay, yeah, I care,
Yeah,
but I'm writing metal songs. Authenticity is only a little bit helpful.
yeah.
It's not everything.
It's been 5 years since the previous now record. Why did you guys like to take the time to write albums?
Well, it wasn't by choice, really. There was a lot of extraneous intervention that made things take longer. The pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, we have a drummer that lives in Greece, and we live here in America. So that made it, difficult. It complicated things. Also, during the pandemic, our bass player and one of our guitar players had new children. They were busy. Instead of writing songs, those guys were busy making babies.
Yeah.
So that threw a monkey wrench into things. We went through replacing bass players 3 times before we came across Dan, our new guy. So that right there chewed up an insane amount of energy. Replacing members is a fucking headache. So yeah, there were lots of other things that got in the way of us finishing this record. We also had touring commitments as soon as the pandemic finished that we had to go do, which was another thing getting in the way of finishing this record. Luckily, Napalm Records was very patient with us. They, were fully behind us. They, were very supportive. And however long it took, well, that was okay with them. So we were grateful for that. But a side benefit of it, having more time to work on the songs was having more time to work on the songs. That's why this album was very streamlined, very effective. All the songs are very cohesive and straight to the fucking point. There's no messing about on this record. This is a fucking Nile record.
Yeah. I listening to it, what you're saying, it's something that came across for me when listening to the record was the flow of it. It didn't feel strenuous in any sense. It was really, in your face, brutal, and it's, as those more calm moments, in a sense that kind of let you breathe a bit more, and then you just smack again in the face.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love listening to these records. It's, it was worth to wait. Sometimes we think 5 years is a long time, but after you get a great record, you just forget about the time.
Well, we were conscious of this. How long are fans waiting? We better do a fucking good job with this record because we are asking fans to wait a long time. So it was kind of a motivating factor. If people have to wait, you better make it good. When you go to a restaurant, and it's a nice restaurant, so sometimes there's a wait.
Yeah.
And if there's a long wait, motherfucker, my steak better be motherfucking perfect.
Yeah.
Or, you will have some angry, hungry people.
That's one of the things you mentioned. I think the restaurant is a perfect analogy. When you wait to go to that restaurant that everybody talks about, I mean, we're paying, it better be fucking good.
Otherwise, it better be fucking good.
Otherwise, I don't care about you anymore.
I think that's a reasonable way to feel. I mean, I feel that same way. Right? I think pretty much everyone does. If you're going to make a motherfucker wait, it better be worth the motherfucking wait.
Yeah. And so when did you, with lineup changes and, with the pandemic, obviously that got in the way, as you were saying, when did you really start working on the songs for this new album?
The first thing we wrote was at the very beginning of the pandemic. It was The Doctrine of Last Things. And then when the pandemic hit, we had a bunch of songs that were half finished, and we all had other stuff we had to go do. I went and made a solo record. George did a bunch of studio work, session work. I taught guitar lessons for a while. I took guitar lessons, taught them. So there were other things we did until the pandemic was over, and we could like really take back up on working on the record and finishing those songs. We recorded the drums at the beginning, I think, of 23, and then we mixed. It was February. So, or was it 22? We did drums. I can't remember. It's all a fucking blur to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a while.
Yeah. And I'm curious. You say guys record the drums first, because I know a lot of bands, when sometimes they have drums recorded even before, songs are completely finished. How does that work? When you have you have a drums, so you have the bass basically laid down for a song. But do you ever feel like tempted to change something because you can feel the flow of like a guitar or a melody or a riff? How does that work, having already something recorded that you cannot change and you have to put the rest on top of it?
Well, for us, before we recorded those drums, the songs were already written
Okay.
and gone back and forth 10, 12 times. So it was a process like demo and pre-production where you're basically making the album before you make the album, and you work out all the little bugs. And that's what we did a shitload of. So we already knew what we were doing when we recorded the drums, that were going to go on the record. We'd already recorded these songs 10, 12, 13 times before already. So we knew these songs, right? They were very prepared. So we knew. We fucking knew because we did the pre-production.
Okay.
It's like making the album twice.
Yeah. So you already had you guys already, because sometimes they don't explain that. We have no idea. We're not musicians. I don't have a band. I don't know the work that goes into it. I mean, I have an idea because I know bands. I talk to them, and I know how long sometimes it takes to prepare. But sometimes when they say, we had recorded the drums a year ago, and then we decided to go to the studio to finish the rest. And I was like, so what if you guys decided to change something and the drums already recorded? How the fuck are you going to do that?
Right. Well, there you go. What they're not talking about is whatever time they spent before they recorded the drums, figuring out what the drums were supposed to do. But you're also right in that as the record evolves and you're working on it, sometimes things evolve. Like you go, oh, well, maybe we should have done this chorus twice. Or maybe that guitar chord should be an E flat instead of an E. Right? So some of it is the ability to adapt and evolve and realize what you have and what you need to do. So that's always ongoing. Like guitar leads are like that. They're the last thing to go on the record, and they will change quite a bit sometimes. Like when you finally hear it back, with everything in there, like sometimes you go, I need to do this instead. But it's okay, right? It's okay. That's all right. Often the vocals, like you think you know it, but as you're making the record, you realize sometimes, why the fuck am I doing that? I should be doing this other thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if your brain is functioning, you can be self-aware enough to realize that thing that you love doing may not be the best thing. And so that's sometimes hard. Like you fall in love with the songs that you write and then realize we have to adapt.
Yeah. And you were mentioning lead guitar. That's the last thing you record. do you like to map out the guitar solo, or are you a fan of the improvisation side of a guitar solo? How does that work with you? How do you prefer to do that side?
Well, different people like to work different ways, and I'm kind of I like doing both things. Like sometimes I'll plan it out if it's like a very involved kind of thing, and sometimes I'll just start playing and just leave it to the universe, what sounds good. When I play something I like, well, then I'll keep it.
Yeah.
If I play something I don't like, then I don't have to keep it. I can keep going until I hear something I like.
Yeah. Was there any guitar solo that took a long time until you were fucking happy? And on the flip side, was there any that you recorded like a first take and you were like, this is fucking it. I'm not changing a note on it.
There have been times in Nile's history where there was a magical first take, but those make good stories. But I don't remember that being on the case, for any of the guitar solos on this record. There was a lot of work put into these. I remember Stele of Vultures, just because of the crazy time signatures, the insane tempos. Those had to be really meticulously worked on. Like, I went through it and I had an idea for each section. And then I worked on it until I got it right. Others were a little easier, because they were a little more fun. And I kind of like having fun.
Yeah.
Like, one of the greatest joys I have as a guitar player is playing on other people's records. Because if you're playing a solo on someone else's song, you don't have to care about their song. All you have to care about is playing a guitar solo. They hired you to play a guitar solo, so okay, it's a guitar solo. I don't have to care about anything else about the song. I'm just getting paid to do a solo, and that's very liberating. But when you're playing solos on your own record, you still have to care about the song. You can't. It's very hard to forget that you have to care about this record and the song, and it's like putting chains on yourself. It's the opposite of liberating, because you got to care. It's your own. It's your name going on it.
Yeah.
Right? You're not just doing a job for somebody else that you don't have to give a fuck about. Right?
I mean, yeah, you don't, but do you feel that pressure then when you're making your own record? That are you more a perfectionist when it comes to your records than when someone else's work?
Absolutely. Because it's got your name on it. If it's got your name on it, you gotta fucking care. You have no choice but to care. I wish I could not give a fuck about a Nile record. Man, that would be so much easier, right? And just do whatever comes out, and there you go. Man, that's fun. That's why I like playing on other people's records, because I don't have to care. I can just play and let them worry about it.
That's music should be fun, and it's fun, but when you have when there is an expectation built up from fans, from fan base, and after playing so many years, that fun kind of goes away a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes fun out of several parts of it. But for us, the fun part is going out on tour and playing music with the people right there. That's fun. That's the joy of it, right? The responsibilities of living up to people's expectations, which is impossible. It can't be done. You still got to care, though. When you play the music live and the people are right there with you, that's the joy.
Yeah.
That's, where metal, I think, really takes place when the band and the fans are together.
Yeah.
In the moment, metal, right now, let's do it together.
Yeah.
That's the joy. That's the happiness. That's the reward for all the other fucking hard work that
Yeah.
went before.
The months and months of trying to get the song as you want. Because again, as I was saying, like we have no notion how long you are working on the songs that are on the album, because for us, it's a finished product, it's there.
Right.
And we think it's like, oh, it's, very easy.
Well, I often ask this question of myself, right? Like, I know the price that I paid to make this record because it cost me 2 years of my life working on this record. The sacrifices that had to be made to do this record. I know all that price I had to pay. Should fans have to worry about that? Or should fans be able to just put on the record and enjoy some metal? I think fans ought to be able to just listen and have fun.
Yeah.
That's all that they should have to worry about. They shouldn't have to worry about whatever fucking hell it was, or not hell, or whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. What matters is when you put on that record and you listen to it, do you feel the metal? That's what matters.
Yeah, I agree. I wish sometimes fans would just enjoy instead of being very analytical when it comes.
I think over and analyzing records steals the joy,
Yeah,
right? If you spend too much time analyzing, it's no fun,
yeah,
right? I like to listen to music where I'm not going to analyze it.
yeah,
Like, if you play me somebody's death metal record, well, I make death metal records. So when I listen to it with that ear and that brain.
yeah,
And that's not any fun for me because I'm going to hear from that perspective. So I like listening to music where I have no idea how that music was made. I don't know. I don't care. Like listening to Miles Davis, right? Miles Davis, I don't necessarily understand exactly what the fuck Miles Davis is doing, but that's okay because I don't have to care about it. Whereas if you play me a Cannibal Corpse record, well, I understand because I make, similar kind of records. I understand what goes into making that record, and my brain is going to be eat up by thinking of those thoughts.
yeah,
But if I put on some Miles Davis or some Al Green or, Jeff Beck or whatever, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just listening to it and enjoying it.
yeah. That's one of the things for me when it comes to music. That's why I don't like to write reviews about records, because I think it's such a personal experience. And if I enjoy music, I really enjoy. If I don't, I don't. And I don't
Yeah.
want to write about something that I don't like. What's the purpose? I don't like it. Fuck it.
Dude, I have the same opinion. Like, people ask me, what do I think about this band? What do I think about that band? Well, I don't know. I don't care. Who cares what I think anyway? Um, I like to listen to music, and if I feel a connection with it, if I enjoy it, then I like it.
Yeah.
I don't go online and talk about every band that I don't like. I'd be there all day. So I don't want to think those thoughts. I just want to listen to some music that I do enjoy,
Yeah.
and let's be happy we're alive and listening to music and enjoying it. We could be doing a lot of worse things. Somebody could be shooting bullets at us.
Yeah. Maybe we could be cleaning toilets in a prison or something,
Exactly. So let's be thankful we have metal, we're alive, and we are living in one of the greatest times of our planet's history, possibly also the worst time in our planet's history, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. But we are alive. So while we are alive, let's have some metal.
Exactly. And, I think we only talked once, and it was when you guys played Lisbon. We talked on the tour bus, so it was one of those shorter kind of interviews anyway. But uh, when did the passion for Egypt and Egypt teams came to you? You know, what did attract you to that world, so to say?
Well, it was always kind of an interest, from the time I was a kid. My father would watch, all the classic epic movies, Ben-Hur, Sodom and Gomorrah, Land of the Pharaohs, The Ten Commandments, Hercules, any number of all those great epic movies of the past. So, from a young age, this was what I enjoyed. So years later, when I found myself in a band called Nile, uh, okay, if we're called Nile, let's write some songs about ancient Egypt. Okay, and the more that I had to study and read and learn about ancient Egypt just to, write some Nile songs, the more I enjoyed it. It was fun. I liked it. So the interest grew. I would say that having to write Nile songs really exploded my interest in Egyptology.
Yeah. I remember when I was young, and I was always fascinated by Egypt, and I always loved cats, and would always give pharaoh names to the cats that I had.
Nice.
Until one day, someone fucking said to me that it would be bad to give a pharaoh's or an Egyptian name to a cat because it was bad luck. And I was like, why? And he didn't explain to me. And I got that in my head. And ever since, when I had cats for the last 10 years again, I never gave them any pharaoh's name, just regular fucking Joe name.
That's terrible that someone planted this seed of doubt in your brain.
Yeah.
I think superstitions and fear, and I'm a superstitious person, but these things live in our brains,
Yeah.
and they're like little worms that live in there, and they create their own bad luck. It's bad luck only if you believe it's bad luck. If you don't believe in it, then you don't have to worry about it. A lot of people that I know name their cats after Egyptian pharaohs or Egyptian gods. It comes to mind, one of my friends has a cat named Ramses. Okay, what's wrong with that? He doesn't think it's bad luck. He probably loves his cat named Ramses.
And that plant was, that seed was planted in my fucking head. And, I need to get out of it. The next cat I get will have an Egyptian name because I fucking love it. So,
There you go. Yeah, we make our own luck, I think.
yeah.
Right? So what you believe and what you allow to live up here, it makes your own luck.
Yeah. I believe in that. If we think a lot about negative stuff, negative shit will happen.
Yes, it's like a magnet for
Yeah.
negative things. If you think positive thoughts, then you're a magnet for positive things.
Yeah. I think so. And, Carl, to wrap it up, new album is coming out. You're going to have a tour, 2 shows in Portugal. How many songs from the new record are you guys thinking of playing on the upcoming tour?
Well, right now we have 5 planned that we're going to play from the record, probably 3 on the upcoming tour in September. We'll probably add the others as we go, just because that's the way things are done.
As you feel more confident with the songs and see if the
Exactly. I think we've been playing Nile songs for 30 years. So for us, it's always smart to add songs one at a time and get them right,
yeah.
then try to add too many songs all at once and not do a good job with it because you tried to bite off, as they say, bite off more than you can chew. Well, so I think we're doing 3 in September, and we'll add them as the touring cycle evolves.
Yeah. And just to finish, you mentioned in 2022 you released the solo record. Was the final trilogy of the Saurian records, or you have another album in mind? Because this one, I absolutely love it. It's a great album to put me to sleep. And
Dude, that's its entire purpose, is to relax and put people to sleep. When I was making that record, my kid was probably 7 or 8 years old, and all of that music got recorded. His room was right next door. All that music was recorded while he was going to sleep. So for him, as soon as he puts on one of those albums, he's out. He's out. Right? And I'm like, there's a certain magic there, right? Some music is meant to relax you, and some music, like metal, is made to make you, energy, right? This is relaxing music, this Saurian thing. So that's how I think of it. It puts me to sleep. If I put on one of my own records, I go take a nap.
I love these Saurian records. It's really, for me, it's relaxing. And hopefully you'll make some other sometime soon. It's up to you. But I know you're going to be busy the next couple of years, at least, with Nile touring and touring. KARL, thank you very much for your time. All the best for now. I'll see you in Lisbon in September. Thank you very much. And see you in September.
See you in September, my friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.